But see, it's a darkness that is over Black America because their leaders are dark. Their leaders don't have the light in them. So therefore, that's why in Black America, there's a lot of feuding. There's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of groups waging war against other groups and so on and so forth. We want to be supremacists. We want to be this. We want to be that. We want to be we want to be kings. We want to be queens. We want to be gods and goddesses and stuff like that. We want to be everything except but brother and sister to one another. We want to be everything except but being a good son, being a good daughter, being a good mother, being a good father, being a good neighbor. See, we want to be everything other than what the Creator put us here to do. The Creator didn't put us here so that we will puff ourselves up. The Creator didn't do that. The Creator sent us here for purpose. You need to discover your purpose for why you're here. Your individual purpose, I wouldn't know. But as a people, as all humanity, human beings were made to maintain the earth, which is why we are called man and not God. We were here to maintain the earth. So as I said, there's darkness over Black America. Isn't it interesting, again, that as I talk to certain Black people, and I like to sit back and listen and reason with things, they have every kind of excuse in the world on why they're not progressing, even in their own community. They have more churches per mile and organizations, religious organizations per mile than anybody else. And I live in the city of Chicago. So on certain major streets, do you know they have like 4 churches, 6 churches within 1 square mile or half a mile? Yeah, it depends on the area. Some areas just really engrossed with churches and, storefront churches and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just too much. But at the same time, they have so much crime and violence. For a people that have so many churches, so many religious organizations, these people should be at absolute peace, shouldn't they? But no, that's not what the scripture says. See, the scripture says, destruction and misery are in their past because the way of peace they have not known. So you got to know the way of peace. What's the way of peace? You have to seek the Creator's face. That's why I say that in 2 Chronicles, that if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and heal their land. Now, hold on. You say, wait a minute, but we're not wicked. Are you sure about that? Well, then how do you explain the condition that you're in, beloved? How do you explain your ran-down neighborhoods? How do you explain this? But then, yeah, you can go into other ethnic groups in their neighborhoods. It's not looking like yours. They don't hear gunshots all over the place. Women is not being raped. You ain't got gangbangers standing all out, times of night, rivaling against one another, selling all types of dope and drugs and stuff like that. I know. Some people blame that on racism and white supremacy, or they not supplying us with enough jobs and so on and so forth. Well, wait a minute. You've been selling all this dope. You've been collecting all this church money and so on and so forth. You mean to tell me that your people haven't that light bulb haven't came on in their mind and say, wait a minute, let me take this money and let me create some jobs and businesses for our people. Then when you look at a lot of black organizations, you know what I mean? You see them making attempts or whatever, and they still collecting monies and that kind of stuff like that. But what is they really doing? They are more interested on puffing themselves up as though they like the top leader than everybody else and gathering followers and all that kind of stuff like that. But at the end of the day, beloved, they still have misled black people. If your organization has been around for over 5 years, or those organizations going back into last century, and they haven't progressed. They still doing the same things that they did last century and in this new century, the 21st century. Then you know what that's about. They constantly collecting money, but we don't see no progress in the people. What if I told you that one of the major problems with Black America is that that's it. They have too many religions. Now, all of those religions that I mentioned before, whatever, they well and fine. If you take them as it was given into those scriptures and so on and so forth, and leave it as it is, yes, you can do something with that. You can do something with that. But if you are making a denomination, setting up a sectarian organization, and so on and so forth, I can tell you that you are deceiving yourself. You are deceiving whatever Black peoples is going to be inside of your groups, because that's not the way God established things. He established a universal community through the Lord Akhenaten and the Lady Nefertiti. See, they is the ones that are our celestial parents that we are to live up to. See, that's what all of those scriptures is about. Even though they're put in allegorical stories, that's what it's really all about. For us to be a mirror reflection of them, and that is what living in truth is. We are obeying exactly what they told us to do, and as we're doing that, that means we are living in truth, and we're not living the lie. What is living the lie? Living the lie means being secular, doing our own thing, following man's way, and we should be following God's way. Why? Because God walked on this earth, and he sacrificed everything. He threw down a whole world kingdom for you, just so that this can be established. And look at what's happening today. He did this for you, so that all peoples everywhere can be at peace. And we are still in 2021. Still don't get this. We still don't understand what was the whole cause of we being kicked out of our lands, and our lands was taken over globally by different other groups. We still not understanding why. We still not understanding that how do you have Arabs establishing the Arab-African slave trade, driving slaves, clear out of Ethiopia all the way down to the Gold Coast of Africa and many different other places. And then and that's with Islam, because it's either they had to convert to Islam or they got the sword. This is how Africans received Islam. Then, if that wasn't enough, and that took 1,000 years, then after that you had the triangular slave trade, where most of the slaves went all the way down into South America and Brazil and other places like that. Then they wandered up to Central America and North America, using what? What was the main religion of the triangular slave trade? It was Christianity. So why was it so important for those religions, those religious groups, to denigrate you like that, to get you back to the one God? Because you had deviated. That's why. So he had to use Islam. He had to use Christianity. And they say, right, through many documentation, right, that's on file today, that it was European Jews that owned the slave ship. There you go. You got the triangular religions right there. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, all working in consolidation on your mind. So guess what? Then you have it in the scriptures how the Most High was going to use the Gentile as a rod on you to get you in shape. Yeah, he had to get you in shape. He had to put you back in your place. So he was going to use them to whoop you. And did they whoop you? Did they whoop you in Judaism? Did they whoop you in Christianity? Did they whoop you in Islam? Yes, they did. And they made you submit to their gods, didn't they? Yeah, they did. So as they made you submit to their God, they made you do what's right. They made you a Muslim. They made you a Christian. And in many capacities, they made you into Jews or whatever, using their book. And this is all necessary to get you back to the one God. This is all necessary to get you back to the one God. Why? Because, see, it wasn't using Jesus, that image of Jesus. No, per se. It was to use the scriptures to make you have morals, values, and ethics. That's what it was about. And so it was used so that you could become upright. Not that you could be denigrated through, prejudiceness or any kind of thing like that. That's not what it's about. It wasn't about Arab imperialism. It wasn't to use Islam in that type of way. So you got the wrong idea. It wasn't to make Europeans to be in superiority over you and so on and so forth. No, the whole idea was so that you could hold the Most High in superiority, because He's your creator. He's your creator. Who else you gonna hold? Who else you gonna uphold? It's the creator. You know what I mean? So, with that said, beloved, see, the darkness is that you refuse to do what's right. And when you refuse to do what's right, you know what else will start happening? You start falling into all kinds of sin. Then when you find yourself into all kinds of sin and debauched behaviors and so on and so forth, you know what will start happening after that? And they say they was going to visit the iniquity on the third and fourth generation of them that hate Him. Let me show you something about the Creator. Now, when He revealed that to Moses, and in all scriptures, including going all the way to the Quran, they say they believe in the prophets, Moses, and everything that was revealed. Oh, okay. So now we have to hold this on everybody that has picked up monotheism through the Bible, through the Quran, or our Muslims, Christians, Jews, and Hebrews. So, what happens with this? Well, it's very simple. He says, God has it, is that if you do not keep His law, it means you hate Him. That means you hate Him. He has it. He says, and He would visit the iniquity on the third and fourth generation of them that hate Him, but show love and mercy unto those that love Him and keep His commandments. Aha. So that means now, if you're not keeping the commands of God, that means you hate Him. After knowledge, especially after knowledge, that means you hate Him. Now He has made it so that the monotheistic scriptures throughout the Bible and the Quran is now spread throughout the earth and has been translated in all nations, all kindreds, all tongues, been given to all peoples on this planet just about. And guess what? Humanity is now without excuse. They all have the teachings of Akhenaten and what he revealed that got incorporated inside the Bible and inside the Quran. So everybody now of the world have Akhenaten's teachings.